Hey y'all, welcome back to the lab. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to build an RSS feed with F# and Falco. So I recently added an RSS feed to my blog so people with RSS readers can get updates easier. In this post, we'll walk through creating an RSS feed using F# and serving it with Falco. First, what is an RSS feed? So an RSS feed, really simple syndication, is a way to get updates from a source. Typically, it's provided by content sources so that consumers can more easily determine if new content exists and where to find it. And this is often like news sites or content propagators like Medium, or often podcasts. Almost all podcasts use an RSS feed to let you know kind of what the latest episodes are and like where's the link to actually get the thing. So pretty widespread usage of this on the internet. Now the feed itself is typically an XML format that contains info about the source itself. So this will be like the title, the description, the URL of it, and then the list of updates from the source. And this is going to be new content, again, like posts or podcasts with the title, description, and URL for those. And there's also other things you can add, but these are like, the bare bones versions of it. And this provides a simple way for consumers to subscribe to an RSS feed so that they can fetch the latest updates. Again, like this is how podcasts basically work, and how all the aggregators can find the podcast and the newest episode. And this is how things like Feedly are able to aggregate, information from so many different sources, is typically via RSS feed. Now I wanted you to just give you like a few examples of this. So here's the one that I built. It's very bare bones. Here you can see the title, link, description, language, when it was last built, and then you just got a list of items here, each with, the title of the article, a link to where it is, and a description for it, and then what's the publish date. And RSS feeds like typically aren't that long. Like mine is I think 25 items. And then if you look at like a real world one, which is NPR World News, you can see that this one is like a bit more involved. So, same title, link, description, language, but now they've also got copyright and like some generators. They've got like some images. They've got, some encoded content, whatever this is. But basically, it looks about the same. But still, like, they don't have infinite, NPR has way more than whatever this is, like 10 items. But it's usually just, like, the latest items that end up in the feed. All right, now let's talk about the F# and Falco Markdown blog. So we'll be building the RSS feed onto a Markdown blog served with F# and Falco. So the web server is F# and Falco, and then we're using for Markdown to HTML, Markdig, and YAML.net. And in this post, we'll be focused just on the RSS feed portion. So we're not going to go into much detail about how this blog itself is built. For more details, see my previous post on this, build a simple Markdown blog with F# and Falco. And a quick note that this is exactly how my current blog is built. So here, HAMY.xyz, and mirrors its RSS feed. So, this works. I use it in production. It's totally fine. Now we will be going over the relevant code here, but Haminians members do get access to the full project source code here on GitHub, as well as code from dozens of other example projects we built here. And so here's my repo. Here's the project we'll be demoing here. And then if you just look in F#, I've got dozens of different examples that we've gone through. All right, so I pulled up my code editor. We can see that we're in my HAMY Labs code examples repo. And then, make sure you can see this. We can see that the project I'm in is Markdown blog Falco RSS feed. And we're going to run this just to give you an idea of what it is that we're building. So I'm running in Docker. It's live. Let's go here. And so here is the example Markdown blog. You can see it looks very similar to my site because basically, it's a clone of the core scaffolding. And basically what we've done is we've just put 3 example posts in here that are just kind of dummy posts. And then if I go to /RSS here, then we'll see that, these posts are translated into RSS via the example code. And so that's proof that it's actually working, give you an idea of like what it is we're actually creating here. So now we can dive into the code. All right. So now building an RSS feed with F#. So we have 2 primary data types here. One is like the RSS item. This is a single item in the feed, in our case blog posts. And then the second one is the RSS channel, which is going to represent the entire feed and is going to contain the RSS items. There's other ways to do this. You don't necessarily need to put them together, but often I like modeling the domain first and then kind of translating that into the representation of it. And so this is typically how I kind of like to model this stuff. So again, I pulled out the RSS feed module here so you can look at the code, and it's here again on GitHub. And I'm going to open this up in my editor so that we can get some syntax highlighting. Okay, so here we are in the RSS feed. So again, we've got our RSS item. So this will be the title of the blog post, the link, a short description of it, and then the publication date. And then we have our RSS channel, which is, the title of the channel itself. In my case, this is like, HAMY Labs or something. We get our link, our description, the language that this is in, the last build time or the last build date, and then all of the items that are in the channel. Now we're going to scroll down to our entry point, and this will be our handle RSS feed. This is an HTTP handler, which if you are familiar with Falco, this is basically like a controller endpoint or handler that would be configured directly into the route. And so I pass it here my service tree, which is basically like my context. This is how I do dependency injection with F#. It is going to grab the channel data, which we'll talk about in a second, using the dependencies to actually pull what blog posts exist. And it takes in the context, so this will run on every request. This is an HTTP context. And it's basically going to transform the feed to XML, going to get the string version of the XML out, and then it's going to create a response with context type text XML, and then it's going to return this UTF string of the XML content so that we actually get a response that the browser recognizes as XML. This is a little bit wasteful to do this on every request. We could probably move this up here so that it's cached in this closure, but it's fine for now. All right, let's look at this RSS channel data. So this is here. It takes in the service tree or context, and this is what it's using it for, is to say like, hey, get the post service and then get all the ordered posts, just so that the persistence is decoupled from this business logic here. Then we're going to get the list of posts as RSS items. So we're getting our posts out here. We're filtering to just those ones that were published before now, so that we're not like leaking any future posts. And then we're going to map each of these over into an actual RSS item. So we're taking the title, we're creating the link, the description, and then the publication date. My posts only have a date, so I'm just kind of saying that it's, created at midnight on that date. And then finally, we return our RSS channel by adding all the information about our channel and then popping in the list of RSS items. All right, let's talk about RSS to XML. So it takes in our channel, and this is going to start building up the XML here. So this is creating the outer bit. So it's the RSS, you got the version info here, and then inside of it, you got the channel, and it's going to have its, title, link, description, language, and last build date. And then what we're doing is we're grabbing the channel XML element from this that we created, and then we're going to iterate over the items, turn each item into XML, and then add it into the channel. So it's going to keep appending into the channel as children. And then it's going to return an X document, so an XML document, with everything that we've put together inside of it. And then just to give you an idea of, converting item to XML, it again creates an X element with name item, and then inside it, does its title, its link, description, publication date, and then its GUID, which typically is just the link again. So that's that, and all the code is here on the blog as well if you want to copy and paste it. And the last thing we need to do is just configure our route at /blog/RSS. And so this is how we're configuring the route here to actually call into our handler, and this is where I pass in my dependencies so that every time it's called, it gives the context. Reading this again, I think this is a little wasteful because this is not actually cached, and so I'd probably need to pull this out into a variable for that to happen. But it works and it's fine. And the way that I do my post endpoints, early endpoints in Falco, is I usually have a construct endpoints with dependencies, because this is really the composition root of this web service. And so I have all of my routes here linking up with the actual handlers. So I got my about page, blog with slug, and then blog RSS goes right here next. So that's how I built an RSS feed for my F# and Falco Markdown blog. Now, as a reminder, Hyminians do get access to the whole project source code here on GitHub. And if you're curious about how I build full stack web apps with F# and Falco, you can check out Cloud Seed, my F# project boilerplate here. If you like this post, you might also build a simple Markdown blog with F# and Falco. You might also be interested in building a single file web API with F# and Falco for more basics around how Falco works and getting set up with it. And finally, you might be interested in spin up a full stack F# web app in 10 minutes with the Cloud Seed project template to give you a little crash course in what the boilerplate is and why you might use it. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.